YouTube, what it do? It's your boy TWV checking in for a very special episode. So, I have spoken about this episode slash video a couple times before. Whenever I bring up a Shawn Michaels ladder match, I kind of hint at it like, hey, I'm going to talk more about this match specifically. Because that match was the introduction for me into professional wrestling. Also, just right before the match itself, when I seen it as a kid, I used to play SmackDown versus Raw before it switched over to the 2K owning it and it becoming WWE 2K. So the first two actual wrestling video games I ever played was SmackDown versus Raw 2005, SmackDown versus Raw 2006, and then SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Ranking those three, I want to say Here Comes the Pain is number one, and then '06 is number two, then '05. I did love SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. I just can't remember it as much, but I remember playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2005 and 2006 so much that my friends that I grew up with when I was younger, we would call each other on the phone like, yo, make my character in your game so we can have matches. Like, this is before you could play with each other on the internet and things like that, when you have your own created character and then you just play with your other homies created characters. Like, we would sit on the phone. It was me, my boy Willie, Roger Garrison, Wendell Moore, Kendall Jones. I want to say I'm naming all people that I don't know, but mind you, it was like we would be two people would be on the phone, then another two people would be on the phone, or we'd be on three-way, and somebody would be on speaker. Like, basically, we were all on the phone with each other, telling each other how to create our characters, our move sets, our entrances. Like, it was a time, man. It was a time. It's definitely a special time in my childhood that I definitely remember thoroughly. But to circle to the match that got me into professional wrestling would be the Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon ladder match. I don't know if it's WrestleMania 10 specifically or the SummerSlam ladder match that they had. Both were for the Intercontinental Championship. So the Intercontinental Championship was like the first championship I seen in WWE. So when I was a kid, I'm like, dang, this must be the most important championship. They put it on the ladder, and these two guys are fighting for it. So I got into professional wrestling, I want to say 2006-ish, 2007, because my mom had got Files for the first time, and I was on demand, scrolling through on demand, trying to see what I could find on there to watch. I ran through all of like ESPN, what they had on there. So I was like, WWE was a sport, so it's under sports. So I see WWE, I'm like, hey, okay, I know what this is. And that's how I get to the match. And man, I fell in love with wrestling from that very moment. From Shawn Michaels' ring gear to how he came out to just the aura that Shawn Michaels had. And then Scott Hall had aura too, man. Like, he'd come out with the toothpick, the leather vest. Like, I love leather vests just because of Stone Cold and Scott Hall. Those were the two guys. Those Scott Hall, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold are like aura. You talk about aura. Those were like some of the coolest wrestlers I ever seen. Like growing up, like as a kid. Even though I was behind, and my era had a different set of wrestlers. Like, those three guys were like the coolest. Like, but yeah, that match is definitely. Well, either match, I don't know which one, but both matches were amazing. They kind of were like carbon copies of each other with a little bit of different flair, I think, to the finish. But both matches are so enjoyable. Like, sometimes when I'm bored, I'll watch them back. Like, even WWE has a thing where Shawn Michaels and Scott Hall, before he passed away, they rewatch the match back. Sometimes I rewatch the match that way and listen to their thoughts and commentary about the match, because those matches were amazing. Like, those matches walked so the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudley Boys can run. And I have a VHS of TLC. Not the pay-per-view itself, but they made a VHS of the feud between the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudley Boys. It's at my mom's house. Every time I go over there, I forget to bring it back so I can physically have it for the video. But I do have something else that probably nobody even thinks that they would have, but I have it, and it is a WWE encyclopedia. So this is, I want to say, the last one that they dropped, if I'm not mistaken. This was 2009, 2010. Yeah, this stops at 2007. So yeah, this was, I think, SmackDown versus Raw 2007 going into 2008, because the last WrestleMania they have on here is WrestleMania. No, this is 2008, 2007, 2008. So they got WrestleMania 24 on here. I think they stopped making them after that. But man, this is just a big reason why I actually got back into professional wrestling, which is the funny thing. So we'll tell that story as well. So I fell out of professional wrestling, I want to say 2010, 2011. I was in middle school. So I kind of fizzled out and transitioned into anime. Thought I was too cool to watch wrestling. And I didn't watch wrestling for a long time. So I did not get back into wrestling until, I want to say, 2019. WrestleMania 35 was the first wrestling show that I watched when I got back into wrestling. But right before WrestleMania 35, my nephew had got the encyclopedia one day, and I came in the house from work, and he was like, "Hen, you know about such and such, about such and such," and I'm like, "Bro, what?" Like, I'm a wrestling historian, like, cause when I was into wrestling, like I was into wrestling, like how I'm into wrestling now, and I'm like a nerd about it. Like, I was just like, man, come on. So I sat him on the couch, had to show him the Shawn Michaels matches. Like, I was like, yo, these are the two wrestling matches that got me into professional wrestling. Then I showed them the TLC matches between the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudley brothers. And then that's really what sparked it back. Like, shout out to my nephew Joseph. Like, he's the reason why I'm this knee deep into professional wrestling again. So yeah, so far since I've been back into professional wrestling, I think I've been to a house show in 2022. I've been to AEW, I want to say 3-4 times. I haven't been to a pay-per-view yet. That's on my list. Anytime WWE's come to DC since 2020, I think I skipped last year. That's the only time I skipped it, was last year, because I was about to go out of town for my birthday. That's why I skipped it. I've been to WrestleMania last year in Philadelphia. I've been to SummerSlam last year in Cleveland. This year, of course, y'all seen the vlogs, I went to WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. I am thinking about SummerSlam. It's kind of on the fence, because SummerSlam is my birthday gift to myself, because my birthday is in August. So SummerSlam is literally the week before my birthday. So I'm on the fence about that. I may or may not pull the trigger. AEW does have a pay-per-view in July that I'm really leaning more so toward going to, because like I said, I've yet to go to AEW pay-per-view. Yes, this is a WWE Central channel. I do watch AEW here and there, but predominantly their pay-per-views. My favorite wrestlers are over there are Swerve Strickland, because he was a WWE guy, and I really was high on him back in the day before they released him. And Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page. Like, those are like a few of my favorite wrestlers on AEW. Bobby Lashley, of course, because he was a WWE guy. MVP as well. Like, MVP as a kid, in that era, John Cena was my GOAT. But then MVP was in my top 5 wrestlers back then. So I literally can remember my top 5 wrestlers as a kid. It was Cena, Michaels, Batista, MVP, and Undertaker. And MVP being in that group of people, like, it's probably insane, but MVP was so underrated and so deserving of, like, that main event push. Like, his feud with Matt Hardy was the funniest thing ever. Like, I remember them playing basketball against each other. I was sitting in my kitchen. We had like a 20-inch fatback TV on, like, a little, like, it wasn't a mount, like, it was like a shelf, but it was a floating shelf. I remember watching it in in the kitchen. And yeah, man, MVP was such a great wrestler. I'm sad that his career is kind of ended, but he's definitely a great manager, so he's still around, so that's cool to see. But yeah, man, that's just a little trip of how TWV became TWV. So let's now circle into the other half of just what caused me to start a YouTube channel. So I got a push about it last year, literally last WrestleMania season, my homie Willie was just like, bro, you need to just make a YouTube channel. He was just like, when I look up, black wrestling, YouTubers or people on TikTok, you don't find that many. And he was just like, the way you speak about it, the way, you're so knowledgeable, the following, the way I incorporate wrestling t-shirts with damn near every outfit, or hoodies or hats, like some sort of way. If I'm going out somewhere, majority of the time I have wrestling is on my body. So, and I'm into fashion, so I like to incorporate that because that's my thing. So I didn't do it last year. This year, because it was Cena's last WrestleMania, I was going to just go as a fan. I still went as a fan, but in January, I was like, I was on the fence about it. Then I was like, all right, once they really said this Cena last WrestleMania, I'm like, all right, fuck it, you only live once. Never been to Vegas, I'm gonna do it. So I'm putting the pieces together for the trip, and I'm like, man, I should start, vlogging when I go to wrestling events. So I was gonna wait, and Vegas was gonna be my first YouTube video, but then I had two events in February. I went to Friday Night SmackDown in February, and then I went to NXT Vengeance Day the next day. So I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna start there. So I literally started the YouTube channel in February, and then just from there, I started the YouTube channel. Then in March, I'm like, man, I never watched every single WrestleMania, so I told myself I'm gonna start a mini series. So if you watch the 40 years of WrestleMania mini series, I appreciate that. But the reason behind that was I never watched every single WrestleMania. I watched WrestleMania 23, 24, 25. And then I missed everything from 26 to 34. I started back watching wrestling at WrestleMania 35. So it was a whole gap of wrestling that I didn't know about. Of course, like I told you, I didn't watch wrestling. So all the lore and stuff like the Shield and all that, I kind of learned that through just watching stuff to YouTube because I'm a nerd, so I know the storyline now, but back then I didn't know what was really going on. But it was just a push to become the content creator that I wanted to see. Like the other couple inspirations that got me into just wanting to become a YouTuber was Simon Miller, Not Saying Wrestling, and Chris Van Fleet. If you've seen the video, I got to meet Chris Van Fleet, so I did check that one off. If I do go to SummerSlam, I will go to Not Sam's event, and hopefully I get to meet him and have him a part of my video. Hopefully Simon Miller does a thing too. They all were there in Vegas, but I just had so much planned on my schedule, and I couldn't get to every event. So I checked off Chris Van Fleet, so I got to check off Not Sam and Simon Miller and get those guys in the video. That would be like my wrestling influencer trifecta. So that is a goal long term with the channel. But I just wanted to become, like I said, I wanted to become the YouTuber that I didn't see. Like the only black YouTuber that I did see was Brandon Does Everything, and he's more so WWE 2K focused. He does go to events, of course, and he's now become a wrestler. So he was kind of the only one that I was able to really see that is on that platform, because he's got over 1 million subscribers in that space. So not saying I wanted to become him, but I seen what he did and the path he did, of course. So I was just like, wrestling is always constantly flowing every week. It's like I'm already watching it as a fan. Why not just record and talk about it and push it out and see if I can build a community and we can talk and have discussions about our thoughts of storylines and wrestlers and things like that. So I, took that leap of faith and jumped out. Right now, at this moment, I want to say I have 83 subscribers. I'm at about 85 videos. Just hit 6,000 views cumulative on all my videos. I want to say last week. So just a slow journey. I definitely appreciate everybody that is a part of the TWV family. If you came through just seeing my wrestling videos, if you came in the last week just through me cooking, hey, I appreciate it either way. But also, what caused me to do my channel the way I do my channel for the vlog side, because that was basically what the channel's called, the wrestling vlog. So I like to make my vlogs an experience. So that goes from trying out restaurants, tourism, and then we get to the wrestling, like just doing cool different things leading up to the wrestling, because obviously I know the channel is wrestling focused, but it's like, let's say somebody's watching my video for the first time and they never been to a Las Vegas, for example. So boom, I went to the Bellagio, to the art gallery. Maybe they're like, okay, cool, like now I should go to that. Or maybe they want to go to Mandela Bay, to the aquarium. Oh dang, that aquarium looks nice. I didn't think of, while I'm in Vegas, going to the aquarium. Now, these are things that I personally just like outside of wrestling. So I want to incorporate them with the video as well, because I just thought it was something dope and cool to have as well. Just making it a whole experience. Because of course, y'all know what y'all came for. Y'all came for the wrestling, but I'm a person with many hobbies and interests. So that's also the other side of the coin. Like, I just want to share like all my hobbies and interests and passions with the world. So YouTube helps me do that. And if you enjoy it, I appreciate it. If you don't enjoy it, sorry. I mean, it's not going to change. Like, hey, this is who I am at the end of the day. But yeah, that's just like a little bit of insight into just how I got into professional wrestling, how I kind of became a YouTuber slash TikToker slash Instagram content creator. So if you follow the TikTok, that's where I put all my wrestling outfits and my grilling content. YouTube is everything fits, cooking, wrestling. If you do follow me on Instagram, that's kind of just like my personal page, where I do post like my pictures of my wrestling outfits and stuff like that, and my my food videos and my fit. So it's like a culmination of everything over there as well. So hey, I appreciate the support. I'm gonna keep saying that wherever you follow me from, I appreciate the support. And with that being said, it's your boy TWV checking in, checking out. I'll catch you on Saturday for the next one. Peace.